everybody received their minutes. If there are no changes to the minutes, can we get a motion to adopt the minutes as distributed?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I'm going to abstain. I was not here at the last meeting.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Next thing on the agenda is a public hearing for a special use permit proposed for 20-foot cell tower extension project at 2866 Lamson Road. May I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Public hearing is now open at 7:02. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against the proposed cell tower extension project? No? Any comments from the board regarding that? Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizens' comments regarding agenda items and town business. Anybody wishing to speak tonight? Any citizens?
Road, 1405 Greymore Way. First question I have is about on the agenda tonight, don't remember which letter, the hiring of the Parks Director. Is that a full-time with benefits position?
Yes, just like the last park supervisor.
Okay. And the second thing I wanted to bring up, I was driving by Brundage Road last week. I noticed a lot of tractor trailers parked on the side of the road. And I know we have an issue with littering going on out there. And what it seems to be is Anheuser-Busch has all their guys lined up to get their dock times, but they're all parked on the sides of the road cleaning their trailers out on the side of Brundage Road. Is there anything enforcement-wise that the town can do? I know we have no parking signs there, but it doesn't seem to be a problem with McLean. I know they have their own place where trailers stage. And they keep that, I didn't drive down to that property because I think they own it, but I don't know how InBev's problem becomes the town of Lysander's problem when it's on our road. So, that's all.
That's been a problem long before I got here, but we are going to have a cleanup day on that. We've organized people to come out and clean up on the 24th, so we're going to do that through the town. Anheuser-Busch is also organizing their employees on the 22nd. It's a Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. to clean up that area. And I had a conversation with one of the managers at Anheuser-Busch, and she and I are going to get together to try and come up with a solution for the problem along that road. The problem for us along that road is that it's isolated. And the only enforcement we have is the Sheriff's Department or the State Police. And both those entities are stretched very thin right now. And they do know about it because I've had conversations with both of those organizations, and I know that they're at least patrolling that because they've called me and said, yeah, I was out there and we didn't find anything or whatever. But I'm going to get together with that employee the manager from Anheuser-Busch, and try to come up with a solution moving forward. But in the meantime, we're going to clean it up it's going to be cleaned up on everything.
I mean, maybe we put stakes, no parking on both sides of the road, and Anheuser-Busch has to figure out where they can stage their trailers for their business. I mean, I know it's private contractors, I know it's not NFI trailers, they have their space at the brewery, but, you know, I hate to see where the town has to spend money because a business doesn't have to clean. That's all.
I don't think it's the business that is causing the problem. The business is doing business with private contractors, and I would guess that it's the private contractors that are causing the problem because they don't have any skin in the game. Just a second. They don't have any skin in the game, so They are willing to work on the problem, and we'll work towards a solution on it.
Okay, and just GNC Foods over in Van Buren has places where those trailers stage on their property, so if guys are cleaning their trailers, they're not leaving it on the side of the road. That's all.
Okay?
I know part of the answer to that, we did do this several years ago, that you go see the transportation supervisor that is in charge of those are contractors coming at the behest of Anheuser-Busch. They are called and they get there, but the brewery manager has a policy that he don't allow anybody in there unless the trailer's clean. So if they show up, you know what happens, they come down here with a full load of tomatoes or something for McLean, and they unload, and whatever was rejected at McLean is still in the trailer when they go across the street to get a return load from Baldwin's, or from Budweiser. So it goes on the side of the road. The problem originates with Budweiser's policy of not allowing them in unless they're clean. Budweiser has a dumpster area where they clean trailers of their own, but they will not allow these contractors to go there. They tell them to go down to 7th North Street and get your trailer clean, come back. Well, if you're an independent trucker, are you going to spend an hour and a half to go down to 7th North, come back? No, you find the closest place you can find is throw it on the side. Then go back, go in, but the guy at the gate knows that he just saw this trailer 20 minutes ago and now he's back clean. He has to know that that stuff's laying out there on Brundage Road. Okay, so the brewery has to provide the answer. They have to allow those guys inside the gate and have a dump spot or a dumpster specifically for them. That's all they got to do. And Budweiser has cameras out there at the end of their driveway. They can see who's out there on the road. So, I mean, the answer should come from Budweiser. And I would go see the transportation manager and maybe the brewery manager himself and explain the depths of the problem. And the last time you had this discussion, that's when they were redoing their entry road right there at the gate, and that's why all the trucks were out on the road. I don't know what reason they were out on the road this past time that you just happened to see, but the problem comes from Budweiser's activity. They want their brewery kept clean, so they don't want you to bring your dirt in, but they're coming there at the behest of Budweiser. Budweiser has contracted with them to come there to get a return load. And the guy shows up with a dirty trailer. What's he gonna do? So I know you said you were down there and you talked to somebody down there, but
I didn't say I was down there, I said I had a conversation.
you had a conversation.
And we're gonna work on the problem. So,
I would look for the transportation supervisor and the brewery manager. And we went through this back in 2015, 2016. I put up some signs, no littering, at the behest of the state gal. Al could tell you the name of the state agency that controls Radisson. And Radisson, I think, is paid by the state agency to clean that, but they stopped cleaning it because of all the nasty stuff that was there. And that's how it came, how the problem came in my lap. And I went down to the brewery and told them, and we got it controlled for a while, but it's grown back up again. So that's all I can tell you.
I'll take that into consideration. Anybody else?
Matt Hunt, 8292 Oswego Road, and President of the Board of Directors, Greater Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to publicly thank the Lysander community and business owners. This past Saturday, we hosted the Baldwinsville Beeville Chowder Cook-Off, which was put together by Jeffrey Rogers, owner of Angry Garlic and town resident. And just a huge thank you. We had over 500 people come out and participate, and just a great day on Saturday to see the community kind of vibrant again. And a lot of other businesses were able to open their doors to people that were attending the cook-off, and just a great day all around. So just thank you to the community, citizens and businesses.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know it was packed downtown. In fact, pretty much everybody ran out of chowder, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
So thanks for those comments. Yes, sir.
Yes. My name is Howard Thompson. I live at 5284 Villa Ridge Court in Radisson. And over the past few weeks, I noticed some new green street signs that have been going up on Deep Glade, Trace Landing, various streets. And just wanted to, I noticed them because they stand out like a sore thumb. You know, they're completely inappropriate to the aesthetics of that neighborhood. I'm not sure if anyone in here has actually seen these signs.
I have.
And
No, we're familiar.
and you're very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm here to, voice the complaint that, about those signs going up in the first place, especially not letting our homeowners association president even know about it, to even discuss it. It just, because it seems completely inappropriate. These seem like county road signs, on a discrete county road with these two U-channel bolts holding up these, big industrial grade green signs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here as just one of the residents to voice their complaints. I know a lot of my neighbors are, have complained about it too, but I don't know if you've received multiple letters or emails from
No,
other residents.
I have.
You have, okay,
Yeah.
great. So that's
Multiple,
why I'm here.
multiple, yes.
Okay, great. Well, that's good news, I guess.
And I responded back to all of them. I don't know if you
You
sent
did
one.
respond to me, yes.
Yeah,
that is
but,
correct.
if I responded back, I don't know if I explained to you in the email, but I did say that we met with, in fact, Mr. Rivazigno and Mr. Yeager and I met with Lynn Tanner and some of the RCA board members to try and come up with a solution to that problem. But the problem for us as a town, and anybody can chime in when they're ready, is there's been a law change in 2008 that requires all the towns in New York State to change the signage. And so the signage that you're seeing, the signs that were in Radisson before didn't meet the new code. So those were put up in the 70s. I mean, things changed. So the new standards that the state put out, the signs that were in Radisson don't meet those standards. Those standards are pretty specific. We read the law. Mr. Rivazigno looked it over. Mr. Yeager, Mr. Holt and I, we all looked at it, and we came to the conclusion that those signs are the type of signs that need to be put up. Now, well, because of the law. The law says they're...
No grandfathering clause
No.
whatsoever?
No. So now, there is some exceptions. Like if the village wanted to put up different signage, the village could do that. They don't allow towns to do that, they allow villages or other municipalities. So what we agreed to do, Mr. Hole agreed to, because it's his responsibility to change those signs, and we've been doing it all around the town for how long now, Mr. Hole?
2 years.
A few years?
Longer than that.
Yeah, so for several years now.
Radisson's the last neighborhood to get the new signs. And I loved your comment on how they jump right out at you, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to be in hiding in the trees. They're supposed to be reflective. Emergency services are supposed to be able to find them, read them, and find their way when a loved one needs help. That's why they changed the standards.
Right.
And the size, you mentioned the industrial size. The size is determined by the speed of the road that the signs are on. So the ones we started with were the 40, 45 mile an hour roads, and that denotes the size of the sign, the size of the letters, the whole bit. You mentioned the chintzy looking post or whatever, however you want to put it. Those posts are installed with an item at the base. There's a 4-foot piece driven in the ground first, and then the long post is attached to that with an item called a breakaway. That's there for your safety too, especially the faster the car is going, so that it doesn't snap off, come back through your windshield, and take your head off. It's meant to break away and go forward under the car instead of through the window. So all these standards are put there for public safety, and you know, it's not always about
Aesthetics?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
No, I
for your
understand
own
that.
good.
I understand that, but it
So-
seems like there could have been a merging of the two, and that's where.
There isn't though.
Here's the thing for us though. We don't have any, there is no discretion with that. The state does not allow towns to have discretion when it comes to the signage. Go ahead.
Meaning that all of the signs have to be green, because you can have reflective signs that
Yeah,
aren't
yeah,
necessarily.
they specifically state the color and the reflectivity, the size depending on the speed of the road. Now, the RCA attorney and Lynn Tanner and the RCA board felt that there was some room for discretion with the signs. We disagree with her, but Mr. Rivazigno is working with their attorney to see if in fact there is something that we can do. Now, what we agreed to do, if we can do something other than the green signs, we're okay with that. But we have to conform to law. If it doesn't, if the law says you have to do a certain thing, because we're liable, those are all in the right of way, so the town becomes liable if something happens, if we don't do the things, if we don't conform to state standards. So, that's what we're doing. But if we can find another way, and we said at the end of May, we should be able to come up to some resolution. And if there is another way to maybe come up with some signage that's more aesthetically pleasing to the residents of Radisson, we don't have a problem with that. I mean, we have to put signs up, we'll put the signs up. You know, I mean, we don't care, but nobody here cares what color. It could be purple, that's all right, but we still have to conform to the law, and that's what we make sure we're doing, because there's fines that can go along with that. Plus, it puts you at, puts the town in a liable situation.
So I do my due diligence, and my job is public safety. And so these standards are put in place for public safety, and I'm obligated to follow that. If I don't try to follow those rules, then it makes me liable. And
Well, you do more than try to follow them, you do follow them, so.
Yeah, and what.
yeah, well, when I say try, I mean, nobody can afford a town with a $12,000 sign budget to do all the signs in Radisson in 1 year. Last year we did Holly Hill over in your neck of the woods, did the whole neighborhood. The year before we did Seneca Estates by their request to get rid of some older signage and put up the green and white ones. So, you know, I don't know about you, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, driving down Deep Glade at 45 miles an hour, you can't read those signs that are there. They're just totally unreadable.
But
because they're not reflective.
but nobody here,
I thought the white paint was reflective. I was driving my car the other day and I specifically paid attention to see
Maybe
if the
some
light.
of them have been, but
Yeah.
it by no means meets the standards for
For
anything.
the speed.
Or
Well,
the breakaway, or there's just nothing met in the standard by the current signs in Radisson.
so we are sensitive to the complaints, and you aren't the only one by any means. I mean, we received dozens of calls and emails and things like that. And we met with the board and with Lynn Tanner, and we are trying to come up with some other alternative to the green signs. We may not be able to do that. If we can, we will. I mean, you know, we understand, but if we can't, that's the way it has to be, because we don't have any discretion in the matter.
Well, you know it-
From the way we read it
yeah.
and understand it and interpret it, let's say the Village of Baldwinsville is a separate government body, entity, if you will, within our town. they could put up purple and white as long as it meets the reflectivity requirements in the breakaway. That's fine, but they're a separate government entity within our town. Radisson is just a huge housing tract. It's not a separate government, separate highway department, separate, it's not that separate.
Yeah.
So it has to follow the rules of the rest of the town.
Mr. Rivazino, we haven't come to any conclusion on that yet. have
No, what we've asked their attorney to do is because we had different interpretations, we said, if the state gives us a statement saying that what they're proposing, basically the color change, if they're saying that's okay, we'll go with that. But we haven't gotten that yet.
Gotcha. And you guys mentioned about the speed, which makes sense, the faster you go. I can understand you want a bigger sign, bigger text, whatever. But does anyone know what is the maximum, which road has the maximum speed? Is 45 the maximum in Radisson? Because I'm thinking too, on the site, on the street I live on, a court, I don't even think I remember seeing the speed limit. And if I did, I wouldn't think people are going 40 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour.
Your roads in Radisson, the first roads I decided to do were your wider roads, your higher speed roads, your more traffic roads, Drake's Landing.
He was looking at what's the highest speed that's allowed in there? 45, right?
45.
Oh, and that's only on part of Drake's probably.
Right.
The other part of Drake's.
Well, as you
is
get all
30.
the way down to the dead end, it drops to 30.
30, yeah.
But for a uniformity, given the width of that road, and as people age, they don't read the signs quite as well. I've actually received a lot of compliments from people. They say they could actually see them.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the point of them. So, but I chose to do Drake's because it's a wide, fast road. Deep Lake is actually a 45 road.
Which is surprising, isn't it?
But that's another wide road too. So the further you are from the street sign, the harder it is to see. Hence, the faster you're going, the bigger the letters have to.
So my point then is like.
When you get off in the neighborhoods,
Yes.
they'll shrink. And it'll be a single post.
Single post, that's
Yeah.
important too, because the
Yep.
double is
Yeah,
extreme.
well, the double is because of the size of the sign and the wind. We don't want the wind blowing them off and hitting somebody, so, it's,
Yeah, well, so even on the smaller streets, the slower
Mhm.
streets, they'll still need new street signs?
oh yeah, they don't conform.
Well, but a slower speed means you don't need as much
It
text.
won't be as big a sign.
Okay.
But at a
those
slower
signs-
speed, you can read it, your roads aren't as wide, you're not as far from it. All those standards are put in place for those reasons.
But the black and white, or the brown and white, brown signs with the white text, they're still reflective. I think that white paint.
The
is
white paint
reflective.
might be, but the whole thing is supposed to give a certain amount of lumens.
But it has nothing to do with that, because that doesn't meet the standard. We have to meet the standard. Whether they're reflective or not, that color doesn't meet the standards for the town
Nor
signage.
do your letter sizes.
Right.
Or breakaways too, right?
No
Right,
breakaways
right,
either.
right.
So there's nothing on those signs that meets the
Okay.
standard.
Well, thank you for listening to all of our, the Radisson community.
Yeah, and-
it wasn't the intent to criticize what was done.
Yeah.
We were just pointing out the obvious that it
Change
changes
scares
the
people, doesn't
whole,
it?
well, it really affects the ambiance or the look of the neighborhood. But I understand the functionality. I'm
Oh.
an engineer. I understand what function is. You're designed for function, but that's where I was thinking if the two could have been integrated. And I can't believe the state could have such restrictive rules about it has to be green and that's it.
You'd be surprised.
You should have
Yeah.
Sorry for
And
taking up so much
like
time.
Mr. Rivazego said, if we can come up with a solution, or the state sends us a letter, which would release us from any liability, that says, yes, you can have the signs like this. And if they send us that letter, we're good with that. We're okay with that. We're not gonna, if they say we can do it, we'll do it. If we don't get that, that's the problem for us. Okay?
A little background on top of that. So it's not only a state legislation, it's actually rolled down from the FHWA through the manual uniform traffic control devices, and the feds have said, if the states don't enforce these specifications,
Yep.
the federal government will withhold funding. So it's not just a state thing, it's a mandate from the federal government to the states, which the states are forced to adopt, and in turn, pass on to the local municipalities. So it's not just the state DOT, this is the federal government standard. This is
And we have to
nationwide.
show that we're making progress in that direction of correcting them.
Yeah, initially they wanted it done in 4 years. The actual law went into effect in 2009. They wanted everything done in 4 years. They've rolled that back. As long as we have a plan and we're showing progress of meeting the requirements, they're not gonna withhold funds is what they've said now.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, we'll move on to supervisor's comments. As I said earlier, we're gonna have cleanup day on Brundage Road from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday the 24th. Anybody that wishes to show up and give us a hand, that'd be great. We're gonna meet right at the school bus garage parking lot. So just meet there and hopefully we can get the whole thing cleaned up. I want to take the opportunity, we have Mr. Kevin Merrill right here. He's going to be our new Parks Director, and he's going to be starting on the 26th of April. He's here tonight, so if you want to have some conversations with him, he's here. Other than that, that's all I had. Start with Mr. Diamond tonight.
I'd like to thank everyone for attending. Thank everyone for watching on PAC-B. But other than that, we'll stick to the agenda.
Mr. Moore.
Yeah, I've said it many times, we have a great community here in the town of Lysander and the greater Baldwinsville area. And Earth Day, with all the Earth Day events coming up within the next week or so, I know there are going to be a lot of people in our community volunteering in a lot of many capacities, and I just want to thank everybody who took the time to go out and improve their community and their planet over this time. Thank you, and thank you for coming out and watching on the PAC.
Mr. Chirassi.
I don't have any comments tonight, just looking forward to the meeting.
I too look forward to Mr. Merrill starting on the 16th of April, so we have some new programs that are going to be starting at the park. On Monday we have VISA is going to be starting there, BYL, lacrosse, and hopefully Pop Warner is going to have a spring football league there as well too. So he's coming in the right time to take it over, so look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. Department head reports. Mr. Holt, you have anything else?
Yep. I was gonna elaborate on your Earth Day,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Not only Saturday the 24th, but also Friday the 23rd. There are certain groups like Cub Scouts and things like that that asked for targeted areas. Oprah sends us a thing every year. We fill it out, we send it back. Yes, we're participating. The Highway Department is a drop-off point for those groups and organizations. And then we haul the stuff to Rocket Road, okay? But we will be there. We'll have a payloader and a truck to put things into on the 23rd and the 24th, okay? Basically 9 to 1. We gave them Loop Road as well as Brundage Road as targeted areas that needed cleaning up, so.
Well, if people from Anheuser and those other volunteers do a good job Thursday and Friday, our jobs could be easy on Saturday.
Great.
Might be drinking beer by noon. Oh, this is awful clean here.
We've been doing this for years, you know, it's tires, it's everything, things, like those groups that pick up, they sticker the bags that they put things in. We have to see the stickers, we can put them in and take them, and there's no charge. So, we did talk about on your group deal on Saturday, since there is so much big stuff along Brundage, and even on Loop there is. We may actually run the payloader down the road and have people toss into it and bring the 10-wheeler out and put stuff into it, and then after that collect the bags.
I was gonna talk to you about that. I think that's the way to go, because there's gonna be some items on there that could be fairly nasty,
But
so.
we'll have to have some people on what I call, if we're gonna run the road with heavy equipment, we're gonna have to have some people for safety only. So, you know, 'cause you get a lot of kids out there with this stuff, so. Other than that, we had an auction for some surplus items. We were quite shocked and pleased that brought in over $18,000. One item in particular was a 2005 six-wheel dump truck. It went for more than double what I would expect. It went for $14,500. Normally we get 3 to 6 out of them. So I was shocked by that. There's a buying frenzy in construction equipment and things like that out there right now. The other $3,500 that came in on that sale was for a couple of snow blowers, an old push lawn mower. I mean, $3,500 for this stuff, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I'm happy. I mean, it went well. Beyond that, I want to ask the public for patience. We've really got road work underway right now. We've got areas in Radisson that are being milled and filled. Just as an example, most of the roads are off of Glacier Ridge. Roads like Radburn and a couple like that jump to mind. But they're off of that side of Glacier Ridge. We've been over there taking out bad catch basins right now. They'll get paved in as we pave the road, mill and pave the road. So right now you'll see a couple of orange cones by each of them. You know, those would definitely be ankle breakers if you stepped into them. So please be careful. You see the cones, it's serious. You know, until we can pave them in and pave the road, starting next week, actually, if not Monday, Tuesday, we'll start milling those roads. So there'll be a lot of truck traffic in those areas. We're asking people to not have their cars anywhere on the road. That big mill can't go around cars. So we'll get them milled, we'll get them cleaned up, and we'll get them paved. Probably within a couple of weeks, that whole area will be all new asphalt. And then out in another part of the town, Avery, Swamp, Gates, Morgan, Geiger, we've been out there cutting the road open and changing cross culvert pipes and cleaning the ditches. All we have left to do that on is Gates, Morgan, and Geiger. And those roads are then going to be ready for the oil and stone application. Okay, and that'll be the week, tentatively, it's scheduled for the week of June 14th to do those roads. So, other than that, our state budget got approved and they restored funding for CHIPS, Pave New York, EWR. They created a new program, Local Touring Routes Program. I don't know what's involved there, but it's a new program, and they put $100 million into that program. So I just got notified of it tonight. So we'll have to check into that. And you use the word like local touring program. I wonder what that's all about and what funding's available there. So other than that, that's all I got. Just watch out for us.
Now with, I know you're in contact with Lynn Tanner from Radisson regarding the garage sale, their annual garage sale, so
They let us know.
So we're gonna make sure that,
That's
you know, our paving isn't gonna interfere with that, and.
Let's hope not. I mean, you know, that's Mother's Day weekend. Does anybody have a date on that? What is that?
I don't know.
The 8th, I think.
The 8th?
Saturday's the 8th. Right?
Oh, okay, so
Yeah, the 9th.
hopefully Mother Nature allows us, the milling will be done next week, and then we'll start paving right behind that. So next week takes us to what, the 23rd, 20th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be done before the garage
Okay.
sale. So,
All right. Mr. Zigno.
Hey,
Ms. Falcone.
I'm all set tonight, thank you.
See you. Look around, because I usually miss somebody. So you're moving on me. I think you're doing it. I think there's a conspiracy to mess me up here.
I'll be over there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the regular agenda items. May I have a motion to grant a special use permit for the 20-foot cell tower extension located at 2866 Lamson Road. The board determines that the project will not have a significant impact on the environment.
I'll move that. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the sewer disposal system lease with Onondaga County?
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Okay, what this is, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, we just didn't sign the lease, and when we did our resolution, we should have done two resolutions. One was for a maintenance clause that we did that night, and we needed the lease agreement with Onondaga County, that's why this is on. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the town clerk to sign an agreement with Auctions International for the sale of government assets by online auction for the sale of the kitchen vending machine?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I think there's some cheese crackers in there.
We
Actually,
take the coins out?
Oh, you took it, you already ate
The
it?
change, no, not the change. No, I took the change out and we counted it and there's like $41 in there, so.
That's really gonna help the budget.
That is, it's going right to the general fund.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the highway superintendent to purchase a 2023 Western Star 4700 tandem axle truck with Henderson plow, wing, and dump box package not to exceed $235,000.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, we talked about this in our last meeting. Mr. Holt came in and asked us if he could order this truck that we have a 5-year plan to replace trucks. This will be put in next year's budget, which was part of our plan. But in order to get it in the amount of time that we need to order it now because of backups and things.
Over a year to get them sometimes.
Yeah, so that's why we're doing that now, but that'll be on next year's budget. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to review the policy and procedures of the town of Lysander and to implement any policies needed?
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? As we're going through, we're reviewing and updating all our policies and procedures, and while I was going through with department heads and reviewing some of the policies that we have, along with some of the highway policies, we found that we needed some additional policies, so that's why this is in there. And some of them are a little time sensitive. If it has to do with safety, I want to make sure that when we identify them, we get them done and we implement them as soon as we can. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to revise the hourly rates for Mary Lathrop at $17.06 for labor and $21.24 for labor crew leader. The hourly rates were incorrect on the organizational agenda.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to hire Kevin Merrill as Director of Parks and Recreation with an annual salary of $55,000 with a start date of April 26, 2021.
I'd be happy to move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Can we make it the 16th instead of the 27th?
Tried to do that.
Well, yeah, I really want to commend the board, and it was Jeff and I were the team that reviewed the applicants. We sent out a notice, and we got applicants from out of state, certainly out of the county, and it was a well-qualified pool of individuals, and I'm just so happy that the individual we picked is a known recreation quantity. He worked for Onondaga County Parks for how many years, Kevin? 18? 19?
Almost 18.
18 years. He's a Baldwinsville resident, makes it even better. So, and I got a lot of work ahead of you, Kevin.
Yes, we do.
So we're looking forward to having your professionalism on board here. So, and I really want to thank Jeff because and Nancy Mott was part of the interview process as well. So it was really a pleasure to be able to do that. So thank you.
Okay, welcome aboard. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any new business from the board members? there's any reason for an executive session tonight. May I have a motion to adjourn at 7:41?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.